nice. All right. Hi, everybody. Hi. So, as we're doing this, and as you can notice already, I'm going to leave my spot because I have stuff stuck on here still. Yep, first day. You can tell. I'm back. If you haven't signed into my Google Classroom yet, the papers that were on your desk, and I'm going to swing back and forth between stuff here, so stick with me. Okay, the one says, welcome to Mr. Hardy's Algebra 2 class. Okay, the code is right up here for you to get signed in with, and that's going to be critical in here because, well, about 90% of what you get graded on in here is going to be based on stuff we do online. We will not be doing typical pen and paper quizzes and tests in here. That stuff is all going to be virtual through a couple of websites we're going to be using. And so the first part to being up to the swing on that is being in the Google Classroom, okay? And I've got a big chunk of people that are in there already, but if you're not, I'd probably put that at the top of my priority list. As it mentions on the sheet, I'm going to go down some of the things on my classroom here in just a minute with a library to help you and help you find a few other things. But before I go to that, I'm just going to mention number 2 real quick. And this is for you and not just the parents. Make sure, I am going to be on here a lot. I'm going to be sending a bunch of messages through both Skyward and email with due dates, checking on things, answering questions that you have, putting little things out there. So you are going to want to check those things regularly on a daily basis sometime to be sure that you're up on things. So for the moment here, we'll come back to the classroom, as some of you are probably joining the crew here as we speak. So as we kind of work our way down that front page, okay, as our main feed of the classroom here, one thing you're going to need to do daily, whether you're in here or you're virtual, okay, if you're in here, I physically see you, I'm taking note, I do that. But if you're not in here physically on a day, I still need to know that you've at least checked in. So on this front page of my site, there's always going to be this daily attendance form that you go in and click on, and all it basically is going to come up with here in a second is last name, first name, class period, and are you here or are you doing this remotely? If you can do that for me first thing sometime during the day, okay? If you're at home and you forget to do it until 2 in the afternoon, and like, oh crap, it's not that period anymore. It's okay, I'll still get it. But I just need to be able to have that for attendance on, hey, I know somehow you're being connected with us, okay? So that's one thing. The other part I'm going to mention here first, before we get into some other stuff as well, is as we get down to the actual work of things, okay? So again, lots of flipping back and forth here. So again, I got 3 groups of you. I've got my Tuesday, Thursday group that I've got here right now. I got my Wednesday, Friday group that'll be dealing with me and doing this tomorrow, and my virtual crew, okay? So everything is going to be the same for everybody, whether you see me a couple of days a week or you don't. So it's not like I'm doing different things, stuff like that. And I did a short intro video, but I'm already seeing I'm going to need to do another one, probably this afternoon, just to explain a few more things on making sure we're signed up for everything and that we're ready to roll so we can have this all set. So here's what we're going to be looking at as far as in here goes. We're going to work in a flipped classroom. If you've never heard of that, what it basically means is instead of me as the teacher in a traditional classroom sitting up here doing examples, now you try, you do a few examples, some practice, some homework, you ask questions, we do a test, and we go. It's going to be flipped in that I'm going to give you videos of me doing the lessons that I need you to do on your own to work through the notes, work through the practice, and then when we're together, I can answer questions that you're running into, whether it's a concept, whether it's part of an assignment, whether it's, hey, I missed this on the quiz, I don't understand why, and we can kind of get some back and forth going. And I'll have some in-class activity things that people can do here or virtually as well. So it's kind of different that way. So what's this going to look like? Well, let's flip back here and see. So when we get into the classwork portion, this is what typically your week is going to look like. I'll have the week and the date up there. And at the top is going to be what I call a tracker. And basically what it's going to be is, when you pop it open, it's going to give my suggestion for what you try to complete each day to keep it a pace that's comfortable, yet keeps you up with the rest of us. So for instance, today we're doing a getting started. I'm going to chat a little bit about the getting to know you slide in a minute and how to turn that stuff in if you don't have experience with that. And then most days there will be something about watch this or that. Now, you can get to the parts that you need through the weekly planner. You can come down here and you can click on this and it'll take you, that's not found. That's a good thing to let you see right off the bat. We'll chat about that in a second. I'm going to reference that in a minute. I'm going to keep that open. I was signed in under the wrong account and it just busted me. That's kind of funny. Okay. So back to the classwork here. Let's try this again now that I'm signed in correctly, because that's going to come in handy on one other thing. All right, let's see if I get myself in trouble again. I'm going to laugh when it busts me twice. This thing is being naughty right now. This is one wonderful thing about going live with anything, because you never know what you're going to quite get when things happen. I think it's because I'm the teacher in the class and it doesn't like me trying to access this, so I'll do it this way. So all the things I see in the slider, getting to know you slide, okay, 1.3 part 1, are down here. So like for instance, today it says do the get to know you slide. Ooh, I'm getting them turned in already. This is a good thing. So you'd come here and you'd work on, I'm going to show you mine in a second here so you can see what this looks like. But you can literally just fill in what you have and then it'll have a button called turn in. So like, here's mine, okay? So I'm trying to remember, what was the question here? What's an interesting thing about you? I'm not completely boring. Some of you are like, we'll see about that. And I will graduate the same year as my 6-year-old son, as though like he graduates from high school, I graduate from working here. It's kind of a cool deal. How do you feel about math? I've been getting lots of frowny faces and people having steam coming out their ears. I'm slightly excited. Things that you like to do. Plans after you get done with high school. My plans after high school involve a food truck and moving to warmer weather. And then a selfie and some things about, you know, who do you respect or you know, how would I put that? Who do you respect? Who's your favorite person and why? You do that, you turn it in, we get some points. Because I want to get to know some of you better, and only seeing you twice a week, that can be a little tricky. So we get that in, we get that rolling. But here's where I want to make my lock-in though. Okay. Anything that has the clipboard is going to be something that's going to get turned into me. Okay, they're going to go in under assignments. Anything that doesn't have the clipboard, just looks like a page with a bookmark in it, is what I call material. And material is going to be things where you're doing the job to learn something. So for instance, the first section we're going to work on is algebraic expressions. There's a video here, okay, a fresh video. It's just been made this year. You can click through it here. I also have a YouTube page. If you look in the folder Algebra 2020, they'll all be there. And then here, there's a PDF of the notes and the worksheet. For those of you that are in person though, okay, for my virtual learners, you had packets like the ones I handed out in class today down at the front foyer. You can still pick those up. For those of you that are in class with me, you got this big old thick packet. Now here's the good news. That's the entire first unit. This is about 3 weeks worth of lessons. Okay, so it's not like this is a week or a day or something crazy like that. And so you'll notice 1.3. Oh, okay. So when you go back here on our classroom and you go to the YouTube video, the video that's going to play is the exact same as the note sheet that you have in front of you. Okay? It's just me going through the rules, answering questions, stuff like that. Great thing about videos, you can turn me up, you can pause me, you can mute me, you can do anything you want to me. Just make sure somehow you get through there. Okay, that would be helpful. But as far as the notes and things go, you're not going to have to use them off the website because you're going to have, here's your notes. And if you start to flip through right after the notes, is the practice for those notes. So it'll always be notes, then some sort of practice. And here's the other thing where you kind of got to do your own thing. Am I expecting that you're going to do every single problem on every single practice? Maybe. It depends. If you go through the first few and you're really whipping through and feeling good and you're checking answers, we'll talk about that in a second, then you don't have to do every single one. But if you're struggling or if you're like, man, the only way I get it down when it's time to let me know, if there's a quiz or something, is if I do them all. Okay, then do them all in that case. So how am I going to know if they're right? Because I'm not here. Hardy doesn't have a key out. You're right. I don't have them laying out because you kind of know why. But if you flip towards the back of your packet, about the last 5 or 6 pages in it is keys for all the practice problems. Now, I decided not to show work on all of them because I wanted you to have the answer and try it. And then if you're getting stuck, those are the types of things I want you to either email me or when you're in class with me for 3 hours a week over a couple of days, those are the type of things we can go over, take a recording of, and share with people so everybody can get the help with that. But it's important that you do practice and that your whole thing is, well, I'm just going to write all these answers down. Because I do give some credit for completing the notes and making some attempts at the practice. Okay, that's going to be 10% of your grade. You're like, well, it's not much. No, but it's going to prep you really well for the other 90, which is going to be the quizzes and stuff that we're doing online. So answer keys at the back, practices always right after the notes. If you misplace your packet, let me know. I have extras. Virtual people, if you misplaced your packet or couldn't get to it, email me. I will email you the packet in pieces or we'll make this work, okay? So that's what the lesson parts are going to be. So you wouldn't need these parts if you have a packet. And then after we've gotten some practice and we've seen some stuff in action, then we're ready to go into quiz mode, okay? There's a couple main sites I'm going to use. The first main one I'm using these first couple of weeks is going to be Quizizz. Now, here's something that I spent about an hour and a half with students last night trying to figure out, because some of them were having trouble. They were getting booted out. Quizizz kept saying, you're not part of the classroom. I'm not letting you in. So 2 things you've got to do before you can click on this link to join a quiz or to even get in with Quizizz, period. First, you need to be in the classroom before it'll let you in. I got to do one thing here quick. I'm going to update my classes quick to make sure that all of you that are just signing in are going to be in. Okay. So when you are here, you only have to do this once. Okay? Do not click on the quiz as the first thing for Quizizz in the stream. Or if you checked your email, you should have gotten an invite last night in your school email. You need to join my class first. Once you're already a member of my Google Classroom, and then you can accept the invite here. If you get an error message, there's 2 ways this can happen. So here comes the point of the video, so you may have to rewind and go back and forth. If you get a message that says you cannot join, here's the reason why. Your browser, okay, in your Chromebook, if you're using a phone or a computer of your own, you've got to pay attention to this because you've got to be working in Chrome for Quizizz here. It's got to be you signed in at your school email address. If it's signed in under your personal Gmail, Quizizz will not recognize you. Like for instance here, okay, I'm signed in with my Harlem. If I came down here and signed in under my personal email and tried to do stuff on Quizizz, it would not recognize me. And that's the problem some people continue to have, but we're getting people in, so I think we're getting this under control. So if you just got the Chromebooks today, you're already going to be signed in under your Harlem. So as long as you haven't switched, you shouldn't have a problem as long as you go through the email or this join my class link on the front stream to get into Quizizz. And then you'll take your quiz. Nice thing with Quizizz I do in here, I always give you at least 2 shots. Sometimes 3. But most of the time, 2. So if you struggle the first time, maybe go back, look through a few things, and try again before you get rolling. The last thing I want to mention before I do a couple little details and then stop gibbering for a minute so I can get some questions is, at the bottom of the front of my page as well, I have what I call an Algebra 2 library. If you're ever having trouble with any of the technology we're working with in here, the classroom, how do I turn in an assignment? How does this work? Delta Math we'll be talking about next week. Quizzes we need. Google Meets, I'm going to chat about that in a second. We don't do a lot virtually in here when you're live, but I want to still show you how I'm going to use that a little bit. But this is the one I want to deal with right now. Currently, you're used to walking into a math class in here and being able to grab one of these off the wall or a case. Well, again, you kind of think about the situation, can't do that. So what are we going to do? You are perfectly welcome to bring your own calculator. However, we also have, if Hardy gets to the right slide, more live fun for Hardy. There we go. If you go in my library, there is a calculator emulator, which is a fancy way of saying you download this onto the Chromebook. You click that link, it will take you there. You launch the app, you can pull it up. It's like an app in your book. You just, whoop, oh, you got the same thing Hardy does. Cool, okay? If you have your own laptop at home or your own computer at home, there is another link down here to click on for a regular computer or even an Apple computer. If you're looking for phone emulators, that I will be coming up with in another time because they change so much. Last year, I think it was Calculate 84 was my favorite for the Apple phones. But who knows if they've changed that at this point, and I haven't looked, so I'm going to have to check into that. But that's an option for you, okay, to be able to get that. So let me think. What else have I got that I can chat about? Oh, yeah, Virtual Monday. Okay, Virtual Monday, those of you that are in here can see it. Those of you that are not cannot, but I'm going to be sending out an email later today with this. For the most part, those of you that are virtual, or if you're on Wednesday, Friday right now looking at this, you're seeing me in video, but you're not seeing me live. So the only time I'm going to go on live are going to be two different times. My virtual learners, I've already emailed you a couple of times. I'm going to go live outside of school hours to try and get some of the opportunities you get like the students do in here. For those of you that are in here on Mondays when none of you are here, I'm still going to be here. And what I'm going to do is, for each of my periods, I'm going to set across half an hour during our normal block to be available to answer questions, give updates, and do things like that live. Okay, I'll still post some video stuff, but I'm going to do some live as well. Here's the deal, though. There has been a permission slip sent out to guardians that has to be in my possession on my Google Drive for you to be able to participate in that. If you're not, I have to boot you out of it. So I will be checking here over the next few days, and if I see some of you that are having that, is that going to be a requirement that you're in the Google Meet or you're in trouble? No. Are we doing something for points in the Google Meet? No. Okay? But it's just that extra opportunity to be able to ask some questions and communicate with me live. So we'll leave that at that. Grading, I started to mention before, 10% is going to be like the notes and practice stuff, like our packets here. The other 90% will be quizzes. Like, for instance, the Quizizz quiz. If I'm back in my classwork, I can kind of show you here. Algebra expressions quiz, solving linear equations quiz, graphing quiz. Lots of little quizzes. Not as many big, huge ones, just littler ones as we're doing that. And again, there will be extra opportunities, retakes on those, or second chances as well as we're doing these. So don't rush through them. I will never guarantee like a third or a fourth opportunity at something, but I'll always guarantee at least a couple. So for the time being, I am going to shut off the rest of the world here. If you've watched this and weren't in class and you have questions, well, if you're Wednesday, talk to me tomorrow. If you are a virtual, send me an email and I might come up with another video for that. So